Welcome to today's explainer. Today, we're going to unlock a simple but totally game-changing part of the English language. We're talking about exactly how to use there is and there are to describe the vibrant world around us.
But hey, before we get into any of the grammar rules, do me a quick favor. Just take a second and look around the room you're in right now. What do you actually see? How would you describe the furniture, the people, maybe your pets, to someone who isn't standing right there next to you? Well, that is exactly why we need these two phrases. They're literally the essential building blocks for painting a picture with your words.
Okay, let's dive into this. We're going to start with the most basic building block, focusing on just a single object. The rule here is incredibly straightforward. You use there is to talk about one person, one animal, or one thing. The absolute most important word to remember here is one. If it's a single item, if it's solo, there is going to be your go-to phrase.
So let's actually see this in action with a few everyday examples. First, picture an apple resting on a table. Because it's just a single apple, we say, there is an apple on the table. Next, imagine a single cat hiding under a chair. We'd say, there is a cat under the chair. And finally, for that one lonely book sitting inside your backpack, yep, there is a book in my bag.
Now, to really build that muscle memory, I want you to try saying it out loud wherever you are right now. Go ahead. There is an apple on the table. Actually speaking the structure out loud like that helps lock it right into your brain. Love it.
All right, let's move on and see how this builds. Now that we've totally mastered single items, it's time to level up. We're looking at multiple things.
What happens when there's a group? Well, we switch to there are when we're talking about two or more people, animals, or things. It really is that simple, guys. The exact moment your brain registers that you're counting 2, 3, 10, or, I don't know, a million of something, you automatically switch to there are.
Let's look at how these compare to our earlier examples. If we add another apple, suddenly the whole phrase shifts. There are 2 apples on the table. If we spot a pair of pups playing outside, we say there are 2 dogs in the park. And if your desk is just piled high with study materials, it becomes there are 3 books on the desk. Notice how those numbers, 2 and 3, instantly trigger the use of are.
Okay, let's practice that plural rhythm together. Try saying this one out loud for me. There are 3 books on the desk. Feeling that natural rhythm of the plural sentence? That is the absolute key to fluency.
So, you've got the individual concepts down. Awesome. Now let's put these 2 rules side by side to see the difference crystal clear.
And this brilliantly illustrates the shift in our grammar based purely on quantity. On the left, we've got one girl. So naturally, the sentence is, there is a girl in the classroom. But shift your eyes over to the right. The moment that one girl becomes a group of 3 children, the entire sentence structure shifts right along with it to accommodate the plural. There are 3 children in the classroom.
So the crucial point is this. There is equals 1. There are equals more than 1. Seriously, if you take a mental screenshot of anything in this explainer today, make it this simplified rule. It's your ultimate cheat sheet.
All right, enough theory. It is interactive practice time. Let's test your eyes and ears to see just how well you've absorbed these rules. Get ready. Here's your very first challenge. Blank. A pencil on the desk. Take a second. Which phrase belongs in that gap?
If you guessed there is, you nailed it. It's there is because we're talking about exactly one single pencil. All right, let's keep this momentum going. Challenge number 2. What about blank? 5 birds in the tree. What's your guess here?
It is. There are. Since we're counting 5 whole birds, which is definitely more than 1, we absolutely have to use are. Well done.
Okay, round 3 coming in hot. Blank, a teacher in the classroom. What fits in this one?
The answer is there is. Now, even though that teacher might be standing in a room completely packed full of students, the sentence itself is specifically focused on that one single teacher. So there is the perfect fit. Make sense?
Okay, the final practice question, listen really closely to the keyword here. Blank, many flowers in the garden. What's your final answer?
You guessed it, it's there are. The word many is a dead giveaway that we're looking at a whole bunch of flowers, way more than one. Great job on that practice round, seriously. Well, we have reached the final part of our explainer today. You've totally proven you can ace those fill-in-the-blank questions, but now it is time for your real-world challenge. Let's bridge the gap between the screen and your actual everyday life. Now, What's really interesting about this slide is the brilliant, catchy little mnemonic device it gives us to lock this into our memory forever. Read it with a little rhythm with me. One thing, there is. Many things, there are. Practice every day, and you'll go far. It's simple, it's musical, and trust me on this, it absolutely works.
So let's put this into action right now. Look around your room one more time. You might notice there's a TV, or hey, maybe there are 2 chairs. Your final challenge today is to build your English confidence by creating 3 completely new sentences based on whatever is sitting right around you. Speak them out loud, own your new skills, and keep describing your world. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.